Y'all see these vines? They're everywhere right in here where I'm at. Those are southern folks call them bullets vines. You can call them muscadines, whatever you want to call them. The grapes, wild grapes. I've heard people call them fox grapes. This is really good feed for, but it's gone before bow season. But it will, here's what the leaves and all look like. But it will, it'll drop. I mean, I have hunted them like the first week and then they'd be done. It's on rare occasions. But probably mid to late August is when they start dropping. And like you can get a big wad of these things like this. This would be a good place to come sit pig hunting in August in the evenings. They'll be pouring in here to this. I've killed quite a few hogs on bullets vines. There again, muscadines, wild grapes. Here's a closer. Whoop, there's a look at the leaf there. And you can see where we got some happenings going on. Let's see if we can get what we can see here. Y'all see that? There's a whole lot of them right here. There you go. Muskadine vine. Bullets, wild grapes, fox grapes, all the same. They're good to eat too. All right, what we got here is an overup tree. Big white bark, sorta, or gray bark. Kind of scaly. Here's another one right here. It's kind of scaly like a swamp chestnut or a white oak would be. But they're different. They're not the same. Real big, pretty trees. These things are, it's called an overup because the acorn, let's see if I can find an old one. The acorn will be practically covered up with the cap. Here's an old one. You can still see maybe see where the cap come almost all the way under it. It's practically covered up. And these trees will drop usually the first week of September. Start dropping a little bit. That's about the size of one right here. And then I seldom climb on these trees because it's the same time I'm hunting persimmon. But what they'll do, they will, deer and hogs will come to them some, but not really strong, unless there's no other acorns or feed. Because when the water oaks and the chestnuts start dropping, then they'll leave these alone. But what they will do, when it gets December, when all the other acorns are gone, it's December, February, January, February, they'll come back to them. And if you got that's where you want to go. This tree here was destroyed late season. You can see the old pig droppings here. See all the chewed up pieces of acorns here. The ground is practically bare under this tree still, if y'all can see that. So they'll come back to these trees and you'll have flats. Like I'm in a big flat right here. I hadn't made it to my thicket. I wanted to go through this big flat. It's got these tall weeds in it here, but anyway, I was looking around and spotted these two big overups and decided to show you about them. The leaf, there's a good leaf right here. That's what the leaf looks like there. You know, actually, even though it looks a little pointy there, as the leaf matures, it'll round. Here's a kind of big leaf here. See how it starts to round on the tips? It looks sort of like a red oak when it's a small leaf, but as it gets bigger, it rounds out similar to a white oak and looks like a white oak sort of. But it's not the white oak. See it? But you'll know the acorn from the cap covering it up. And there again, it's not a really big draw. I'm trying to think, I don't think I've ever climbed a tree on one of them, but I've killed hogs out from under them late season. And I did find one last year that if the hurricane hadn't came, I had planned on coming, to hunt it. But it's, like I said, if you got a big flat and it's got quite a few of them late season, good place to get on some pigs. All right, that's an overup. So this is a crabapple. This is you see it's got scaly bark here, but then when you get out towards the ends of the limbs, bark gets slick. There's another tree that looks almost like this one, and the difference is the bark is darker and it don't get slick on the ends. You can see how this is real scaly here. Then once it starts getting out, it slickens up. And this tree here has crab apples on it. It's pretty much loaded too. See? This is a good tree to hunt in the uplands. The upland part of the, this is not going to be down in the swamp. When the swamp floods though, you got to have options, right? Look at the crab apples on this tree here. Try to get this thing. Just one limb right here has got like 40 on it. Right here, just this little bit we're showing. So if we continue with some pretty good rain, and that new management area that I've been looking at some, it's covered. This tree here is loaded. It's a pretty big tree here. But that's a crab apple. That's a good thing to hunt. They hunt usually beginning maybe the 1st or 2nd week of October. They'll turn yellow. Like you'll see green ones on the ground. Sometimes maybe they're not eating them. But when they start to yellow up a little bit, they're good. Good hunting. Crab apple tree. This is one of my favorite trees to hunt right here. Big swamp chestnut. They kind of barked up similar to that overcup that I showed you. Like a pecan tree, sort of. This one got beat up pretty bad from the hurricane, but a lot of limbs got broke out, but it looks like it's gonna be fine. I don't know whether it'll make or not, but let's see. Here's a leaf, a small one. Got little saw edges around it. Here's a bigger one here. And it has a big acorn, and it's they love them. And see if I can find a acorn for you. It has big acorns and they love them. There's a old rotten one there, and that one is kind of on the smaller size of them. Here's a chewed up cap to give you an idea. But anyway, they love this tree. You can tell this one made, see the bare dirt, the churned up leaves here. This tree made acorns last year, and evidently they didn't all get blown out, and the deer and hogs wore this tree out. It's like I said, this is one of my favorite trees to hunt. And I've seen some limbs blown out when I've been pig hunting, and they had acorns on them, so maybe they'll make a good year this year. But that is a swamp chestnut. A lot of times you'll hear me talking and I'll say a chestnut oak. Well, I'm meaning a swamp chestnut oak. But it's usually some really big trees, and don't, like everything else, not all of them make. This one happens to be in a funnel as well, beside a little slough that runs, and it's in the perfect place. Swamp chestnut oak. It'll usually start dropping around the 3rd week of October, give or take. Usually around the 3rd week of October, you can maybe start hunting one of them. And I have a video, got several videos where I've taken critters on these trees here, where I killed 2 pigs and a deer on one of it's like my 3rd or 4th video I made. It was on a swamp chestnut oak. 2 years ago, I had got one freezer filling over a chestnut or something like that. I killed a doe with, I believe, with my creek walker longbow. And it's hunting chestnuts. I really love to hunt them. They're good, and you have a chestnut will carry it like it'll drop, and you might get 2 or even 3 weeks of hunting off a single tree. Now, if you got hogs coming in and cleaning up, that might be a little different, but I'm all for shooting a hog too. But they're good trees to hunt, really good trees to hunt. All right, that's a swamp chestnut. That's another this time of the year food source. If you're hunting in pines and all that's got a lot of wild blueberries, they're good to eat too. Give you that little burst of energy. Hey, it's still raining and sweaty. Here's another tip for you when you're scouting. Like this is the end of May almost. And as you're pig hunting or whatever, and you're looking at these feed trees trying to get set up for a successful deer season, pay attention to what's blown out fresh on the ground. This chestnut got blown out a week or so ago. See the little acorns on it? So this chestnut right here by me here, it's more than likely gonna make acorns. So automatically I know I wanna come and check it out when it gets time to hunt. All right, guys, now we're looking at a red oak. It's a southern red oak. The bark on it is similar to a water oak, but it's a little bit looser grain, and the grain runs pretty much straight up and down. And it's there can be some huge trees. That one there's had limbs tore out from the hurricane, as you can tell. There we go. But the leaf on it, here's some leaves right here. There's your leaf right there. It's got the points on them. Real pointed leaf. Looks like this one's gonna be covered in acorns too. Look at there. So it looks like I've seen a lot of acorns on some chestnuts, and this red oak here is loaded. The red oaks will drop a little bit before the chestnuts. And the thing about a chestnut, you may get 3 weeks of hunting out of a chestnut oak. But a red oak, they start dropping, they'll be dropped out in a week. I mean, if you find say it's Saturday and you scout and find a red oak, you're gonna come back next Saturday and hunt it. Well, probably it's already played out, especially if you got hogs on it. The red oak, I've taken a lot of critters on red oaks. They're a good tree to hunt, but like I said, the window is when you walk up on a tree, it's got droppings under it and acorns falling, you need to climb it right then, because 2-3 days later it may not be no good. And another thing, birds will get in, the blackbirds and all will get in the red oaks and not beat the acorns out of them. It'll be raining acorns. I got on my video, I killed deer 2 days in a row. I got some videos of my earlier ones there where I killed deer 2 days in a row hunting different red oaks. Me and my buddy Chris was hunting together. But I had found a tree 2 days before, and I went in to hunt it. And the tree I was gonna hunt had played out, and I was standing there looking. There was no fresh droppings under it. They were all a couple of days old. And I was sitting there listening, and I could hear birds in another tree over there, and it was raining acorns. I went to it. It had 4 or 5 piles of fresh droppings. I climbed and killed a deer that evening, like 5 yards. So red oaks are a very good tree. People don't like to hunt red oaks for some reason, but they do good for me. All right, that there's a white oak. And everybody dotes on the white oak as being what they love to hunt. And in places I know, this one actually, the storm tore it up. It looks like bears been climbing it from the mountains up there. You see a big limb of it right there. 2 of them. But it's come out of it. It's greened up for this year, so maybe it'll be good. But I kill the least amount of critters on white oaks than I do anything I hunt down here. But I have killed some critters on white oaks. They just don't seem to be a bigger draw down here. And it's a scaly bark tree, sort of like the chestnut, but it's a little bit more loose barked. This is a leaf I picked up, and has those fingers. They look a little pointy, but they'll actually round off pretty good. They'll be rounded, and like I said, they some people in areas of the state, they really wear them out. And Chris and I had one we hunted. It was up on the hill, and it was the only one around, and it was in a water oak bottom, a little flat, and we both killed deer on it. But it's probably the only one that we've ever hunted, you know, pretty hard and taken deer on. But I've climbed on it before and saw deer go by it. I remember one time a deer went past it at about 70 yards and went to a water oak. And I sat there in the dark, they never came to me. But that's a white oak. And one thing that I'll tell y'all about trees, forget everything anybody says about them. You go up to a tree, if it's got droppings under it, they're too old, fresh, feed sign, busted acorns, it don't matter what kind of tree it is, you hunt it. You hunt the sign. Don't hunt the acorns. Don't hunt what kind of tree it is, you hunt the sign. If it shows sign, it's created habit in animals to come to it and feed, well, you set on it. And as far as me, other than persimmons in the first few weeks of the season, water oaks has paid off for me the most. And I'm not the only one. Chris will tell you that, and I've heard Mr. Warren Womack say that. The water oaks are the money, because they drop. They have such a long span that they drop. There'll be trees dropping early, trees dropping in December. I mean, they're just a good tree to hunt over. Alrighty, this is a water oak. This is probably one of my favorite trees to hunt. The leaves on it, and this one here was on fire at one time this year. You can tell by the ground under it. Just completely wore out. Sign all in here. That was a hot tree. And this water oaks are really strange. They'll drop, you'll find one dropping the first week of bow season, and then you'll find one in December dropping. They drop, just different trees drop at different times. One thing I can tell you about all the trees I'm showing you as far as oak trees, if there's one that drops ahead of the other ones, I'm talking about of the same species, but more than likely the next year and the next, it'll be the same. And the ones that are dropping early, they'll drop early every time. That's been my experience. It may not happen every time for you, but that seems like it works for me that way. But you can see the ground under this tree here was completely wore out. That's a water oak. Those are the ones on years that we do not have any water oaks. Your critters go through a pretty rough time, simply because they feed for so long. These deer were eating, I mean, the hogs eating water oaks that were left over from last year right now. When I got on pigs a couple of days ago, they were in a treetop, and I ran them off actually. But I had snuck up, I was within 5 yards of them. But what turned me to them was I heard an acorn bust, and they were in there eating water oak acorns that was in that fallen tree. So there you go, that's a water oak. Real slick, hard bark. If you use a climber sometime, it's not good to climb the water oak because the bark's so slick and hard, it won't bite into it good. I've had my climber slip a little bit on water oaks. I just finished talking about a water oak tree, and I walked up on this great big one here. And this is what I'm talking about. Look at the season. I mean, they still not long ago finishing up the acorns here. Look. This is fresh sun here. This is fresh. Digging for those acorns in there. It's all around the tree here. All the way around the complete drop sign of the tree here. This is about the size of the acorn. You can see the cap right there. So this is a tree you definitely want to remember. This is going to be a hot tree, probably a late season tree. The ground is just destroyed under this jacket. It's all in here. Look at the grass just beat down right here where they've been scrounging up these acorns. Look at it. See the grass over here where the side of the drop of the tree, see it's all standing up pretty. Look in the drop of the tree here, it's all beat down. You hunt the feed sign. People say, oh, the water oaks ain't no good. That's people who don't live down here. You hunt the feed sign. Big water oak. It's a good tree there. All right, everybody. This is what I call a swamp persimmon. Most of them are blacker than this one. This one's kind of gray. Most of them will be almost black. It's a real hard tree, real tight bark, little checks, little square checks of bark. And these things, as you can tell underneath this joker steel, this one probably makes. And you can tell when you walk up on them if they make or not, usually, because there will be sign around them. Like this tree right here by it's been cut up by and rubbed on by pigs. So it's a good tree probably makes. And you want to look in the top of them. See, this one don't have a whole lot of limbs in it. That means it won't hold a whole lot of fruit. So when you're looking for persimmons, you don't really got to look at the size of the trunk of the tree. You want to look at how many limbs are in it. A smaller tree may have all kind of limbs that hold a lot of fruit. Persimmons that once they start dropping, which will usually be first week of September maybe, some of them before, some after, but man, they are good to hunt. That's usually because the only other thing dropping at that time may be finishing up some muscadines, you know, the wild grapes, or overcut acorns sometimes will drop early like that. But these persimmons, they are hot. They are hot. You can, deer or hogs will come to them. You're always going to see game. There'll be coons and coyotes and foxes and some of everything coming to the persimmon tree. And I've seen rabbits eat persimmons, turkeys, be a lot of stuff. But that's a persimmon. A lot of them will be big as a light pole, jet black. And then you'll have, this is actually a little persimmon tree here, the pigs is rubbing on right here. Kind of what the leaf looks like. But there you go. And that's another sign that tree makes, because all these little trees are coming up around it right here. Alrighty. Hey guys, this is a sawtooth oak. This is not native to our area, but a lot of places, I know at Fort Stewart and a lot of the management areas around here, they got them planted like pecan orchards in places. And they have I think they're from Japan, I'm not sure. I thought I saw some little acorns here somewhere, I reckon not. But they have a real fuzzy acorn. The cap will almost cover like an overcup sort of, but it'll be real fuzzy looking, and they drop real early. There, you can see a little acorn coming on right there. They drop real early, and they'll be fuzzy. And when I say early, I'm talking about the first week of bow season. They'll be dropping. I don't see any of the caps here, but the deer and hogs will love them. So if you got some of them, most of the time they're planted, I'm in a plot right here, right? An old food plot. And most of the time when you find them, they'll be planted in a place like that. There's one management area I hunt north of me that I've killed a hog on them. Climbed on them. It was a secluded plot. It had, I think, 3 trees planted way in the back. And I guess it had been forgotten about and grown up around it. And it was hot. That's the only tree in this plot like that. That's the only sawtooth. And they'll get big. They'll get big just, you know, like a real big tree. That's pretty cool. That's cool. That's a sawtooth oak.